Alright guys, so today we will be working on a 2003 Jeep Liberty Sport. So with the Jeep Liberty Sport, the thing with the Jeep Liberty Sport, the radiator is not hard to get to. Okay, now the radiator has a leak right at the top. Let me see if I can, right there. Radiator has a leak right there. So what I'm about to do is I'm about to take the radiator out. So prior to starting this recording, I forgot to do this before I forgot to start recording before I did this. So prior to start recording, I went ahead and I took off the whole front pieces. Okay. So the first thing I did was I took the grill off. This was right here. I took that off. This grill had 1, 2, 3, 4 screws in it. I'm about to show you that 4 screws. So to remove the grill, all you need is a T20. Okay, you need a T20 bit, and that's the screw. And it's 4 of these screws. You remove those. All right. Cool. After I removed those, I had to take off this casing at the front of the latch. Now this is the hood latch. You want to be careful because the wire is still connected to that. Now the hood latch sits right up in here. Okay. The hood latch has some 10 bolts. So you need a 10mm socket to remove the hood latch. Now the hood latch has 1, 2, 3 10mm bolts. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 10mm bolts. Okay, there's also a 10mm bolts that go right here to hold it down to this plastic piece right here. You're gonna have to remove that in order to get this out. There's also 2 10mm bolts that go down here. Okay, and that bolts onto the bracket down at the bottom right there. So you remove those 2 10mm bolts, and that comes out. You're gonna have to pry it out a little bit to remove the clip. This clip sits underneath this latch, so you're gonna have to prise this out a little bit and lift this out. Okay, when you lift it out, you want to put it back up in your truck and secure it where it doesn't fall. Okay, now I done went ahead and did all that. Now it's time for me to take the radiator apart. So what I'm going to do is I had already disconnected the fan. It's an electric fan. Okay guys, so now you want to remove these 10mm bolts that's holding this bracket. Okay, we're going to take the fan apart. Okay, and it is 2 10mm bolts. I already removed them. One goes right here, and the other goes over here underneath this upper hose right there, the upper radiator hose. So I already removed those. What I want to do is I have some clips right here. These go into these little holes right here. You got to prise these out with a screwdriver in order to get to this 10mm bolt right here. We got to remove that one. We also have to come on this side, do the same thing on this side in order to get to that 10mm bolt down there. Now I'm not going to do that because I have a socket that I could use to take that out without doing all of that. So once I get that done, then I'm going to disconnect this from the radiator. However, I'm not going to release the pressure from the lines, so I'm not touching these bolts. I'm going to remove it from right here. Okay, so it's one bolt that sits right here. You remove that bolt, and this piece right here comes apart from the radiator. Alright, let's get to it. So guys, I went ahead and I removed all the bolts. See, I removed all the bolts. Okay, and now I disconnected the fan. I removed the bolts on the fan. In order to remove the fan, you got to pull up on the fan, straight up in there, because it sits in some clips at the bottom. So you'd want to pull up on there to release those clips. Okay, let me take the fan cover off and get back to you. Remove the fan. In order to get the fan off of that, all you have to do is remove those two 10mm bolts and then pull it straight up in the air, because these little things, they sit in the clips. They have two little clips at the bottom right there that they go and sit into. Okay, that's this little clip right here. This little clip right here. And it's the same thing on the other side. It has one on the other side right here. Okay guys, so it has one on the other side right there. Now that the fan cover is out of the way, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna disconnect these hoses from the radiator. Okay, all these hoses I'm gonna disconnect it. So I'm gonna use my vice grip. I use my vice grips. Okay, I'm gonna use my vice grips to disconnect this. A flathead screwdriver for this one right here. Okay, also I'm changing the bottle, so I'm gonna remove all these connections right here. Okay, and then I'll get back to you guys and I'll show you exactly how it is. Okay, alright guys, so all the pieces are out. Isn't me? Take out the fan, the radiator and everything come out. So now me actually I'll put it back together. I changed that hose right there already. Even though it have a crimp like that, don't mind that. But I changed that hose there already. And then this is the new radiator that I'm going to put in there. That's the old one on the back. That's the old radiator bottle. And the new radiator bottle. So now I'm about to screw the pieces back up. Attach the hose and everything back on there, and then I'll show you the completed job, guys. So everything is connected, fans connected, all the bolts are tightened up, and of course I topped up the antifreeze. So now I'm running it to make sure that there's no more overheating problem. Everything is back in place. Okay, grill is back on and everything. So guys, in order to work on to change the radiator, all I had to do was remove 1, 2, 3 10mm, 4, 5, 6 10mm bolts to remove this bracket right here. There are also 2 10mm bolts in here. I had showed you before I reconnected it, but there are 2 10mm bolts in there, and you have to remove this 10mm bolt right here, and this bracket will come all the way out. And then you just remove that 10mm bolt right up in here, remove that 10mm bolt right there, and there's 2 more at the bottom, 10mm, and everything will come out all together. The fan housing, you remove this and you remove 2 10mm as well, one right here and one right here up underneath this hose right here. So guys, if you have a Jeep, that will work for your Jeep. Okay, I have the Liberty Sport 2003 that works for the 2004. I want to believe it works, it's the same for 2002 all the way up until 2006. Okay, so don't quote me on that guys, but that is how you change your radiator. So out with the old radiator. This is what the old radiator looked like. That's the base of it. It was leaking around the base, and it was also leaking at the top because it has a nasty, you're not going to be able to see it, but it is busted like right here, right up in here. There's a bust right there. So guys, radiator fixed, and the vehicle is currently running. and see, temperature gauge is staying constant. So that's how you fix a radiator leak on a 2003 Jeep Liberty Sport. Thank you guys for tuning into the channel, and all you would need for this job, I'm going to put all you would need for this job in the description, okay? And like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend, and come again.